Good morning, everybody. I forgot I had my AI camera on. Oh no. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AI for Anyone Live, the weekly live show from the Human Stack, where we make AI accessible and actionable for nonprofits and social impact organizations. I'm Sami Zoss.
And I'm Tim Lockie. Today is episode 50. I cannot believe that. That's 50 Wednesdays almost in a row. I think it might actually be in a row. And we are not slowing down. So this is the Agentic April finale. We're closing the loop on everything we've built this month, from the playbook to agency, and we're proving it live with a real nonprofit scenario. Sammy's got something to show you, and I have not seen it yet. Sami, I'm ready when you are.
All right, let's get into it. Okay, but the real question, which shirt am I popping on before we get started?
The one on the right.
My right or your right?
My right. Yep, that one. Nope, not that one. Nope. Yep. I like the delay here. Okay, so everybody, while Sami is putting on this week's shirt, I am calling in from Halifax, which has been great. I've been at the United Way Canada Suntrade conference, working with my friend Dan Kershaw and Robin Corey, and delivering some content on AI and having a great time here. So calling in from the other side of the world here.
The other side of the world. So far away. I love it. I love it. Well, it is wonderful to be here with you, Tim.
Thanks.
I like that I've got an ad media spot here, and it doesn't let me pre-share my stuff very much. So we love to see
I know. I feel like so for those of you watching, the restream tool sometimes is perfect, and then other times it is not perfect. I've just got to say, it is so correct. And I just love. I've got to say, Sami, your ability to hit our graphics is just so cool. I like the design framework you've got.
Look, that's all a Claude skill that I think I'm starting to perfect, and maybe that's one that we'll do on one of our bonus episodes, because it is so I've been able to duplicate it since then, and it has changed what I can produce, like you're seeing here. I mean, it's so fun. So oh, hi Megan, let's go 50 horses. Oh, horse. I was like, what is she saying horses for? She was choosing that one. Okay, Megan, I'll wear horses next week for you. We love to see it. I was like, wait, what does she mean? I also sent our YouTube to an inordinate amount of my friends and was like, hey,
good.
You guys should hop on and say hi. So we'll see.
Love it.
Yeah. Okay, want to talk through about last week a little bit. Episode 49 recap. We talked a little bit about how I called you out, or what was the guy said, that you're a nobody, or is this guy a nobody that we shouldn't concern ourselves with? We did have a conversation after that, actually, and so I giggled with him quite a bit. I was like, I actually really enjoy this man. And some really good conversation actually came from that. So, but we talked about your 2x2 grids. We had a few of those. We talked through the donor segmentation trap, and some of the, you brought in your serenity prayer, differential, which is actually usually almost always behind the paywall. So Tim definitely is giving away the goods last week, but just to see what we did in all of April, right? So we started with the spectrum on week 1. What is an agent? What isn't? We moved to the playbook on week 2. That was when I was solo. And you guys, this has not been our week for successful productions, or not been our month. That first one, you and I were struggling with definitions. We were like, how do we define that? We got real philosophical. Then the next week, I'm solo, killing it, by the way. And my boyfriend comes up and is like, hey, you're going to lose internet access here in a minute. And I'm like, that's crazy. So then Tim hops back in last week. Like we said, kind of went over that. And then today we're kind of in the co-build. Let's see, let's put our money where our mouth is opportunities. So big fan of the month. Agentic April coming to a close today. Anything you want to say on the month, Tim?
I do. I want to start by saying some of you may have seen the title to the episode that we had right before the new title, which is Half a Hundred. And for those of you that saw it and felt like that was inappropriate, first of all, I want to say thank you to the community. Somebody reached out and said, hey, 50 Shades of Agent might not be the best way to describe what you're talking about. And so just to say thank you to that person, and thank you to the community for caring enough to read our content and then say, hey, this is how you could improve, and absolutely agree with that. So we changed the name on that. We just want to say thank you for raising that. Thanks for making us better. And, that's an easy, mea culpa. Yep, sorry that we didn't think of that. So thank you for that, first of all. And then it also raises, Sami, what a great namer you are on these episodes week after week. No. I love it. So thank you for that. And then it is a moment to just kind of say 50's that's a lot. So I've done, this is my third kind of show like this. I've never gotten past the 50, but I've gotten there 2 other times. So next week will be in uncharted territory for me, which I think is really cool. And I think the community probably senses this, but if it wasn't for you and your work on this, we would not be doing it. And I'm just really grateful for your work on it. So thank you so much. And then in terms of this month, I do feel like there is so much change happening in the work that we're doing, and it's happening so fast that I feel like this month is a good picture of what it looks like, because every month there is going to be something new, and we could redo the entire month every month and have entirely new content because AI is just moving that fast. So, and I think that's why.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. One more quick house cleaning thing. I did check to make sure there was no risk of my internet being cut off mid-episode, but there is still construction going on in this house, so I'm going to do better about muting in between. Unlike usual, I don't always mind if there's some background noise. I think it's really important that if they're banging on the walls next to me that I mute in between. I thought about going somewhere else, but then you hit coffee house background and all of that stuff. So I was kind of
it's good. It's good. Yeah.
So I did just want to let you guys know that as I'm doing this. But I am so excited that you actually mentioned that, Tim, because I want to show everybody, usually I plan for 3 content blocks. We usually end up doing about
1.5.
Today we have to do at least 2 because the first one is not actually as it is relevant, but it is not as specific to the episode. It is to the milestone, right? So we've got 50 weeks of showing up here. So I'm going to pull us in here. Well, I'm going to move us to the side here because I got a little overlay naturally.
That is so cool.
Yeah, this one was fun to make. So 1 year, 7 eras. Every dot is an episode. So we've got all these dots down here.
What's the okay? Oh, okay, yeah. So size of dot is how many views. Okay, I'm catching up.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I just kind of want to quick 4 minutes, not even, talk through the eras of the last 50 episodes, what we've kind of been covering, what has been our goal, how we've sort of transformed in those last couple of, this last year, right? It was April 16th, 2025 that we had our first episode. So we were quite literally at the year mark, which is crazy. That does mean we did have a few weeks where we didn't have AI4AnyoneLIVE, but there were very few. I think
there were very few.
Maybe 4, including Christmas. It was crazy.
Yeah.
So, and it started with a notebook LM. We had no idea what we were doing, right? We were talking about Nathan Chappelle's holy crap moments in tech. We invented the Impact Me Foundation, which we haven't brought back up in a while. We should definitely do that.
I hate that AI can't say the name of our foundation, though. It drives me nuts.
I
So,
know,
yeah,
I know.
every time.
And I have like my note here, like this was the episode that I like that you learned that Gemini existed, which is hilarious, right?
I
Like
mean, I
given how
knew
much we
Gemini
did in
existed.
Gemini
I just
afterward.
didn't know it was
Yes,
worth paying attention to.
exactly.
And yeah, and I got schooled, and it was like very, very real schooling. So yeah,
Right.
I think that's great.
And then we started to realize
And
like
I
Gemini
just want to
was,
say hi to Megan and Karen, who have been around for a lot of these episodes.
yes.
So thanks for the shout outs. Thanks for tuning in week after week. Um, there is the sound effect. Yeah.
And I dropped it.
So yeah, I think
Hilarious.
that's and we really did start with a lens of saying there's a lot here in Gemini. I wasn't aware of it, and I pay a lot of attention to this. There must be a lot of people who aren't aware of it. And looking back now, it was an early view into the idea that is now just becoming very common, which is you're going to have two systems: your base system that you're already paying for, which is either Copilot or Gemini, and then an add-on system which used to be ChatGPT and probably is now Claude. Like in the last year, that's what's changed. That's the world that we're in now. Would you agree with that? Do you feel like that's kind of the shape of
100%.
things?
Oh, absolutely. I think it is definitely where we are at. Um, Sorry, I got distracted because my dog outside's whining. She wanted out. That's on her. Also, you can see I'm trying to like make the screens not look so ridiculous, and yet here we are. So anyway, uh, really quickly, I wanna give a couple shout outs similar to what you just done along the way, though. Right, era 2 with Gemini in the driver's seat. I think between 2 and 3 here, Dan Kershaw came to as many episodes as
Oh
we
yeah,
did.
I think that's true.
Um, he joins from anywhere, right? Like including a cruise ship near Haiti. Like if there's one person outside this room who's shaped the show, it is certainly Dan Kershaw.
Yeah,
So
100%.
definite shout out to him and the work that he does with Furniture Bank in Canada. I'm so grateful that you're there, helping them, working with them. And yeah, I just think about this and I'm like, oh yeah, no, they're we wouldn't be here without Dan for sure.
And I had
Um,
dinner with Dan for the last 2 nights, which is a perfect coda on that because it is just the quality of his thinking and integrity as a human is just amazing. And so,
so true.
I completely agree. He really has shaped the show. Um, so, yeah.
And then right around the fundraising AI summit last year, we started to see that like Gemini was still our focus for a while, but the shape of what we were doing started to form a little bit differently, right? Like we noticed that when the show has a reason, the audience shows up. And so it was about this mark that folks started to realize what we were saying back then, which is Gemini or Copilot need to be your core deliverable, your core system. And it was around that time that then we saw actually quite a bit of new players show up, people kind of coming in and seeing, hey, this is something that I need to know. And this is, that free literacy education that we deliver every week.
Yes.
Then we got into kind of our fluency and sort of how are we doing more with it? And that's where Jonathan Edwards and Nate Jones really started to shape what we were delivering. We brought Jonathan Edwards on multiple times now, but once to sort of like talk through his AI cred and everything that he built in that. And now, we're all the way here in our agent area, which is just agent era, not area.
I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
We started the year asking like, can Gemini help me write an email? And we're ending it asking like, can an agent run my ops? Right? Like
Yeah.
same show, completely different
My
universe.
gosh. That is the best framing, starting with email and ending with ops. And it has been that fast. Like
Oh,
I
it's been
like
crazy.
the Jan 1 through April, mid-April is crazy. And I suspect I know what tool you created this next thing on, but maybe I'm wrong. And I do want to say that I think Anthropic is just like dropped the change that is really going to shift a lot of things recently. So I'm guessing we're going to talk about that, but tell me, like, this is really cool as
Oh,
always.
this is so fun. What tool do you think I used this to build this?
I think that you used Claude Design for this.
I did not. I just
Oh,
used
okay.
Claude.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Just straight Claude.
Yeah.
But that's why I was like, wait a minute, what do you mean? I always use
Yeah.
Claude for everything. That's so funny.
Okay. So I don't know if you've seen this, but have you checked out live artifacts in Claude yet?
Yes. I built a couple
I
yesterday.
was I
They're
was so
insane.
looking forward to telling you. I thought maybe you hadn't seen it yet, and I was gonna be like, Sammy, this is going to be your world, but you've already seen it. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
I
hair flip.
do of course. I want to call out, like, we've got some like call outs of episodes and what happened and all these fun things, but this is the one that sort of like stuck with me, Tim, which is first episode. We were ending it and you were like, all of this AI stuff, like just give it 6 months. And I put
Yeah,
here, right? But like 6 months ago, let alone 12 months ago, can you imagine where we were to where we are?
yeah,
Like, I just, it's like a
yeah,
super surreal quote to be pulling from our first episode a year later.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
super honored to be here with you all through it all. I mean, truly, it's been an awesome journey. And just, kind of so grateful for like being here with everyone. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, yeah, I am grateful for everybody being here with us. I think that this has been an along for the ride kind of a thing. I also feel like you and I are in the middle of figuring out like this is our thing that we want to shape and really make as useful for the community as possible. And we're figuring out what that looks like. I think the early steps that we made in making tutorials that people can follow along with was a really good place to start. I think the more I do this work, the more I'm seeing that AI is going to keep doing AI at a rate of change that we cannot imagine. So again, give it 6 months and you will not recognize what it can do. The block on everything will be culture, not adoption, but culture. And that I think is where I think that's the growing edge. In every conference I go to, everything I hear, people talk about human centric and they've got it wrong. Humans are really important. I'm here for it, all of that. But actually, organizations is a cultural movement. And so we need to be culture centric, not just human centric. And that I think is the growing edge Human Stack is focused on right now. Sammy, you have done as much to shape some of the thinking around that as anybody in the last 5 months, especially. And so I think that as we keep moving forward together in this show, I think that being culture centric is going to increasingly be the point because AI is building itself now so fast. I mean, Anthropic's shipping every 72 hours now. It's going so fast that we actually need to start vectoring to our own destination and let AI come to us rather than chasing it all the time.
Yeah. I'm putting a quote at the bottom here. One, because I like to play with the ticker. I don't use it enough. And two, because it's one of the ones I had in my show notes on whether or not to pull up. But it is a quote from you. You've said it many times, but one of them, it's culture eats strategy for breakfast. It eats AI for lunch. The org that adopts AI fastest isn't the one that wins. It's the one that adopts it most honestly is.
Yeah.
Which I just think is funny because you were literally just saying, like, if you guys ever want to hear the consistency in some of that, that's crazy.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to say that is why I stopped doing the consulting in tech that I did
Mhm.
in 2019 and moved to the human stack, which is what I saw over and over is that the failure in tech needs human solutions, not tech solutions. And that's just becoming more and more clear. Just going to say one other thing that I've been thinking a lot lately that is really pithy and works really well, but now I can't remember it. So
You
yeah,
say
there we
pithy?
go. I did say pithy. Yeah,
Hmm.
pithy. Right? Do we still say
Interesting.
that? Do we stop saying pithy? Is pithy out and I don't even know it?
I just don't know if I've ever heard someone use the actual word.
Okay, all
So,
right.
like,
So we
close
don't
it
use it at
in if it
all.
was
I
out.
see. Gotcha. Right, gotcha. Yeah. No,
Welcome,
I'm taking
Amina.
note.
You're never late.
Amina,
We're always happy
yeah,
to have
welcome.
everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. So Tim, I thought the best way to sort of apply what we talked about this month with Agentic April was to co-build, whether that's like one of us sharing our screen and talking it out, or we talk it out, then we both go build the same thing, etc. But I sort of like asked a few of our listeners. I'd asked Megan and Karen and Subash and the gentleman that came last week. Oh gosh, Kevin and Micah. I asked a few folks like, hey, what would be a like real nonprofit scenario that you hit that you want to see? Can we sort of like address from an agentic perspective some part of that problem, right? Like to solve an actual fundamental problem that someone's having. Most of the time, that's going to take more than the 20 minutes we have on a call. But like, let's talk through how we apply what we know, right? Like what we've taught all month to here is how I would do this. Would it be an agentic answer? Would we do it some other way? Where's the human in the loop? What are the constraints that we put on? You know, how do we perfect the prompt before we get to the workflow to make an agent, etc. So I didn't tell Tim we were going to do that, but I never tell Tim what we're going to do. So that's really on him. But
Like
Megan
how
gave us
that's
one.
clearly on you, but lands on me. I don't know.
No,
Whatever.
it's for sure on you.
Okay.
Megan gave us one. She gave us quite a few actually, but she gave us one that I agree where she's like, everyone kind of talks about this. And I think there is a pseudo agentic approach to the solution. I want to hear your thoughts on it before I say like, yes, this is it and we'll go, because I've got a few others if we need as well. Megan wrote, a big classic nonprofit issue is taking the monthly reports from workplace giving, which we love because they're always matches, right? And getting it into your CRM. The donor is your cause, Samsung, for example, and then the person that's behind it is soft credited. Super painful, right? Everyone complains about this task. She put, I don't really, but nonprofit folks would scream over this kind of tool. The reason why I chose that one is because she is not the first person this week to bring that up to me, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the idea that when the human stack matches the gifts that Tim Lockie makes, the hard credit or like the tax deductibility goes to the human stack, but it is because of an action that Tim Lockie took that got us that gift, right? It is matching Tim Lockie's gift. And there are some CRMs that sort of have a setup to do that for. But I'm wondering if there is a way, in my mind, this process goes, we have a policy for how we acknowledge corporate matching gifts. That policy then becomes a prompt. That prompt becomes a workflow. That workflow becomes an agent. Thoughts? Is it too complex because it's too bespoke to the companies? What does everyone else think?
It's weird, but this one has a more concrete outcome than people realize. Because if you frame everything in terms of who gets the receipt, things clear up a lot faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because then there's almost a net promoter score that you're trying to track here is in terms of the soft credit. But the core requirement at a data level that cannot be violated is who gets the tax receipt. And so I've done this process with multiple organizations in the work that I've done, and holding it at the hard credit is who gets the receipt. The soft credit is who gets the credit for it. Actually creates clarity that if you stray away from, every time it gets confusing. So that is the first thing I would say on that, is create a logical poll that is always true. Does that make
like
sense?
Like a policy?
Well, it starts with an idea. Right? Oh, I
It's
see.
almost like exactly what I just
I
recommended we
see.
do.
You're making fun of me. Yeah. Okay.
Well, the other thing, actually, that wasn't what I'd planned on doing. My
Just
smiles
a
and
happy
giggles.
accident. Yeah.
My smiles and giggles were at the idea that like I know that your systems and data mind is like, oh, problem solved. But I also know that the idea of a donor seeing a differential between soft and hard credit on their year-end giving statement puts them into TIVs. And so the
Yes.
issue isn't always what's the center rule and how do we follow it. That is the starter to solving the problem.
Yes, agreed.
But the next piece is, what are the actual human implications of this process and how do we approach and address those? Of course, they've moved right next to me mid-episode.
Good. Okay, so thanks for the clarification on that. So there are two things that happen, and they actually do kind of follow the right language here, which is there's a hard requirement of you cannot mess up the receipt. This is a tax document that needs to be absolutely correct. And if you do any work in Canada, by the way, that tax document has to have an ID with it that is immutable. So like the stakes even go up from there. That is a hard requirement. Is a first requirement. My point on this is if you don't establish that before anything else, everything gets confusing. But to your point, the real, like that's actually the easy part. The important part is who knows about that information, who sees that information, and how do you create appreciation for that that is separate than a notification of received or funds received and tax documentation, right? So what we most want to do is appreciate the the credit from whomever is creating that value for us, right? That's the most important thing. The visibility layer on that with AI might not even be a number anymore. It might be, thank you so much. Because of you, we had this many people that are coming to us and engaging with our work now. That's been financial, there's been volunteer work that's happened. That shows us what level of partner you are to us, and we appreciate that so much. That is an easy lift for AI and an impossible lift for a CRM. And this goes right. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, there are some CRMs that do make it easier than others, but they also cost stupid money. And they are good so long as the static logic is good. And that is where AI comes in, right? So I can set a trigger that says anytime a matching gift comes in, you need to send this thing, right? That's great.
Yes.
What AI is going to be able to do is actually help you. Here's the information about that experience. Here's information. Here's the context for the organization and the individual and the company.
Yep.
Now let's talk about how we talk through, honor, interact, etc. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and Megan's point is really well made on that as well. And I'm going to start talking about something that I don't think I've heard enough people talk about, and I think that this might be the one thing we always have to do that never changes, which is intent engineering. Right? So there's context engineering, there is prompt engineering. The actual thing we need to get really good at is intent, whether we call that engineering or architecture or just clarity. If we can be clear about what we intend, we can get AI to get to that outcome. And in the future, it will do that even easier, right? Like we won't, like it's moving so fast that you don't need the same kind of prompt frameworks that you needed before. What will never change is the thing I want is this. How do I describe that? How do I explain that? How do I tell it that? Right. So what Megan's really talking about is, okay, we're agreed on the outcome of appreciation to soft credits and tax documents to hard credits, right? That right there, if we just say that's intent, and then we give that problem to AI and we say, here's the system, I've got Fundraise Up, working with NPSP or Blackbaud or whatever our system is. And then say create a repeatable process. This is where you step in and kill it after, like, this is like, I have now done what I'm good at, and then I hand it to you, who is the queen of like repeatable outcomes, which I am not. Like I'm good at open loops and one-off outcomes, right? So
okay, so what I'm gonna do
does that make sense though?
Yeah, I'm gonna share my screen and try exactly what you did. Try exactly what you said.
Okay.
While I'm doing that, I am building sort of a backup in the background. So for what it's
Of course
worth,
you
I've
are.
been doing
Right.
that. So if this doesn't work the way we want
Yes.
it to, we
I
always
would
love to
say
have
the reason
ourselves
this show
back.
works is that I drone on and on while you just build things and ignore me. And that
100%.
actually is just like, yeah, the key to us like doing this well. So, okay,
It
great.
works so well.
Before
Okay.
we do that, I just want to ask Megan, does that match what you're thinking, Megan? And I just realized that my screen is probably way behind the LinkedIn screen. So
Well, and she'd noted earlier, this is so true. It's
yeah.
also that folks
Okay.
don't know how to do this. They don't even know how to even do this entry.
Yeah.
So that's where I say, like, your process is policy. Like, what is the standard? What is the intent, as you said?
Yep.
Then what's the process to implementing that policy? Then where's the workflow that can just be manually triggered and go? And
Yep.
then how do you agentify it, right? So I'm going to use my whisper flow here, and I'm just going to talk to it for a
Yeah.
second. So
Okay.
let me do that here really quickly. I'm on with AI for Anyone Live right now, and we're talking about trying to create a repeatable process that could inevitably turn into an agentic flow that helps with a fundamental issue that many nonprofits face, which is when a matching gift from a corporation comes in, where, creating a policy around where the hard credit goes, where the tax documents go, what the appreciation documents say, and how those are tracked. Essentially, hard credit and tax documents go to the corporation. Soft credit and appreciation goes to the individual. From there, we're trying to show that you start with a policy. So what is your intent? Then you walk through what that procedure or workflow would be. And then you work to perfect it to the point where you can automate or agentify it. So as a natural first step, we're going to put all of that brain dump into you. And why don't you help us identify any questions we might be missing before we build this out? And then let's talk about what this repeatable process might look like. I'd love to end in a visual of how the workflow would work and instructions on how we would agentify it. Sure. I was like,
Okay. Can you make that bigger?
Oh yeah, I'm trying. Can
Okay,
I?
cool.
I don't know if I can.
Just,
I'll have to go on the web, I think.
no. Actually, is this the app? Just hit plus the same way you would, and it probably will do it.
Plus?
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Yeah, like command plus. Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh.
I mean, for some things I do, I guess, but.
There we go. Cool.
Okay. While it's, I don't know. I keep getting that today. I'm just ignoring it.
Oh yeah. Well, they've been putting out. Okay, can I tell you about, while this is thinking, can I tell you about the presentation I did yesterday live in front of people? I was doing a 90-minute workshop, and 10 minutes in, the fire alarm goes off and stays on for the next 10 minutes, right? And then Gemini's rolling something out, so the promptinator doesn't work at all. Notebook LM doesn't work. Like, it was, yeah, there we go. Oh, this is, what? Did it just build this right now, or is that stuff you already had?
This was the one I was building while you were talking. I mean, I did just build it right now.
Jeez.
Here, let me make it a little bit bigger.
Your design prompt, like your design is just like crazy good.
Oh, reached the tool limit. Okay. So I asked it to like give me a project to run it in as well, right? So here's the specs. Oh wait, I gotta find what I'm doing with this thing. I'm so annoyed with whatever that alert is. I've tried to restart it a few times. Look, here's what the live build flow is. Read the scenario, walk through the system prompt live. Luckily, oh look,
it's got the 2x2 on it.
Heyo. Okay.
I can't read it very well.
Oh, wait, it won't let me. One sec. I think I'm just gonna have to download it. That's fun though.
I know, it's really cool. Yeah.
Okay, so how do I? I'm not saying that. I'm gonna download all of those.
Okay, so while you're doing this, I'm just gonna.
Thank you.
I'm just going to say, if you're looking for where Sami's working on this is in Claude. If you're not using Claude yet, strong recommendation to go to Claude and start learning Claude. It is next level in terms of what it is creating these days. And so the two areas that I'm looking at with Claude right now, live artifacts, which is really helpful, I think, for high literacy users, and then Claude design for high fluency users. And I remember the thing I was going to say before, Sami, and this is maybe the most important thing to say about agents is there's a difference between using agents and building agents, and people are getting confused about whether they need to know how to build them or whether they know how to use them. And the starting point for agents isn't what is an agent. The starting point for agents is, are you the kind of user that should be building agents, or are you the kind of user that should be using agents? If you start there, you'll get clarity a lot faster, because it's impossible to answer the what is an agent question. But you can answer, should I build them or use them? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I don't build agents almost ever. I use them.
Yeah,
like
I
you
think
said.
you do.
Maybe. Okay, this is probably a much more usable in the next 5 minutes version of what that was building. So I will, depending on how fast we get through this, we'll pull up the other one. But this one came from my Whisper Flow. Megan, yes, I will send you. So she asked if I could send her the prompt so she can try it, because it was her request, right? So yes, I will happily do that.
One other question, Megan. What is the CRM that you are using? I can't remember. I know that we've talked about that before. Okay, Bloomerang. Okay, so I do have a little bit of an idea on what to do with that, but okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I definitely. It took a lot in me to not just start.
I know,
doing.
Right? Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like
it does.
Yeah. So okay.
So start with policy.
Start with policy, right? And of course, all of those downloads are popping up now. So the statement that this one gave us is, when a corporate matching gift, this is just a statement in a policy, right? So is received against an individual's donor's contribution, hard credit and tax deductible acknowledgement go to the corporation. Soft credit and the relational appreciation go to the individual donor who triggered the match. This protects tax compliance and honors the relationship. I love that clarity. And right here, right, this policy answers intent. It sets the rules, the workflow, and eventually the agent must obey. Without it, every edge case becomes a judgment call and automation becomes a liability. I love that language.
Feels like this is straight out of your brain.
Whoa, that was crazy.
That is
because I haven't really been able to like articulate that well, right? Like the idea that like basically to automate, you do need to make sure that you have and we talked about this on my solo episode with the framework or the playbook of like constraints is the hardest but most important step in building that repeatable prompt.
Yep.
Okay,
way,
so
there's a bunch around that with managed success at some point that I want to dig into with you, right? Okay, keep going. Always. This is great.
Okay, so map the procedure, right? So what's the trigger? The match arrives. Here's what we need to capture.
By the way, this is the same issue that comes up with big giving days, where they give to a local foundation, and then the foundation gives you a check from 280 people, right?
Yep. No, it's and I could get into.
Yeah, I know exactly.
I could get into gift credit and those processes all day, every day.
Yeah, me too. Okay.
Right. So then the match, you link to the original gift. You find the gift that Tim Lockie gave. Link the human stacks gift to Tim Lockie's gift. That's just a relation. You're basically saying these are related gifts. You confirm all of your coding, flag if for some reason it's unmatchable. Third, applying the credits per policy. Adding, I love that it gives you a recommendation to add the code so you could follow up, you can audit. Then acknowledge, right? Generate 2 letters. Tax receipt with IRS language, donor thank you with no deductibility claim, route for signature or auto send, and gotta love it. We've got the stewardship piece of this well, right? It didn't just end there. Update any giving society threshold. So basically what it's saying is, and this is the piece that I said I could get into 8 miles over, which is where it starts to get hairy, Tim, is you have been responsible for the organization getting, let's say, $100, 50 from you, 50 from the human stack. Your lifetime giving could be $50 or $100, depending on how we count that soft credit. Your giving society entry could be, so those people who are giving through DAFs, great example. if you aren't attributing that soft credit to that donor in a way that adds to those counts, it does impact their relationship with the organization in many ways. If you have things like a giving society, if you are tracking and honoring externally any of those giving levels annually, lifetime, etc. And that is a hard thing to like figure out. And that's where like that policy really does come into play. Make sure you note on there what within that policy or related to that policy of like what all matching gifts, soft credit applies to. Does it apply to everything? Does it not? Some of that stuff. So then here's the split, right? So on the hard credit tax docs to the corporation, you've got the hard credit on the corporate account. This is definitely out of my brain. This is so fun. But then compliance trap, individual cannot claim the matched amount on their taxes. Appreciation letters must make this ambiguous. A well-meaning thank you when only 500, a well-meaning thank you for $1,000 when only 500 was theirs is an IRS audit flag, kind of like what you were saying. And that's where it's really important that you note that you're getting an appreciation and thank you letter, not a tax deductible IRS receipt. You've already sent them one of those for the 500 they gave. This is a thank you for the $1,000 impact that they made.
Yep.
It's so but this is where it turns agentic, right?
This takes me back. I was helping work on the nonprofit success pack in Salesforce around these things, on how payments and credits work on this. And the thing I want people to understand on this is that it is this complex. And when people try and be like, oh, this is too complicated, it should be simpler. It should not, because this is the complexity that the world requires, because it's the reality. So, like, great point
100%.
on role aggregations of soft credits is a very tricky calculation that you have to have a lot of definition around before it even makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Oh, this is so amazing. Yep.
So I just noticed the time. Like, yep. No, we're gonna go. Okay. The offboard was 10:45. I think I don't know if we said that or not. Don't jump into automation. Climb the ladder. So start right. So first rung is manual. Document the current way. All the things we just talked about. Document everything.
Yep.
Number 2, standardize, which you're already doing because you're developing standard operating procedures, right? So these are pieces that you've got parts of. What you need to know is, do I need a different SOP for matching gifts versus matching gifts with corporations that they work at versus DAFs versus community? Like, do you want to differentiate that much? You can. It just changes the route your automation will take eventually.
Yeah.
And you need to standardize to those.
But do you always do it, like, you do it manually first for each of those times?
Always.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
So you do it manually, then you standardize, then you use AI to assist. Right. So I love this recommendation. A custom GPT or cloud project takes the match details, drafts both letters, suggests CRM codes, and flags mismatches. So you're basically copying it, putting it in there, obviously under the same security parameters that your organization allows. So you may not be putting names, some of that stuff, depending. Then you automate, make some rules-based flows. Then from there, they watch a shared inbox or the queue or a certain code within your CRM that says this is a matching gift. It does the work for you and then sends it to you to say, hey, double check that this was right before we say save. Like, how cool is this? It's got little ingredients. Amazing. This is fun.
I know, it's very good. This. I have a sticky note on my desk that is ironic, because it's ironic, that says you can't automate what you're not doing.
Oh.
Right?
I don't like that. That makes me sad. I'm not doing a lot that I want to automate.
Yes, but but just think through what you just did right there. You started by doing it before you automated it. It is an instinct of yours that I think people, like, I have to have a sticky note to remind myself I can't automate it until I'm doing it. And I think that is something I see in you over and over, is that you start by doing and then you automate in. So, yeah.
I just want to note that in the background, Bilha, she goes, if the Claude error shows up again, try the below. Like, she's just troubleshooting for us while we're on live.
I love it. That's great. Thank you, Bella.
Oh, man. Right. Okay, so that is a wrap for, of course.
Can I give one last thing on this, by the way?
While I shut my door.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. This is, I want to just say to Megan and others that are working in this kind of this kind of where you're moving data from one system or disparate systems into another system. The language that will help AI know exactly what you mean is ETL. So it's extract, transform, reload, or load. Extract, transform, load. So if you say, I need an ETL process to move these transactions into Bloomerang, it will create it a lot faster. And it's another thing that you and I keep running into, Sami, where the right words make insane differences in speed of outcome, right? So you can get there by describing it, but if you just say ETL, it makes it a lot faster. So yeah.
ETL. Maybe we'll explore that next week.
Yeah.
Speaking
Okay,
of,
cool.
next week, episode 51, it's a bonus Wednesday, April 29th. It's the 5th Wednesday of the month. And so I claim all 5th Wednesdays as my bonus days. That's going to be my rule from now on. So think of it as the April after party. There's not
I
an
have as much say
agenda.
in that rule as I have with other things too. It's perfect.
Correct. You're welcome to plan the episodes.
No, I'm not. We both know that I am not.
That's so funny. We're just gonna experiment whatever you guys want to build. I mean, I will come with a plan. I just am not going to limit us to the theme of the month. It's gonna be a fun, Claude Design just dropped today. Maybe we'll pop Claude Design or yesterday or the day before. Maybe we'll pop Claude Design up and just mess around. Who knows, right? So and then May 6th, we're going to kick off May I Be Human, which is a brand new month asking what only we can do, right? Like what only we can do as humans. So make sure you guys come ready.
50 episodes, 50 Wednesdays of showing up and figuring this out live with you, Sami. The tools will keep changing. The questions won't. Are you still in charge? Go build something this week and bring it back for next free week.
Whoop, whoop, free week. Until then, you guys stay curious.
Hey, human.
Talk to you later. See you next Wednesday.